All right, everyone. Welcome again. Today's session is for New York State certified teacher candidates or graduate school of education students that are on track to be certified and are interested in teaching students with disabilities. The presentation has been broken up into 4 different parts. First, an overview of New York City Public Schools, then the special education landscape, then the pathways and applications, followed by the job search process, and then questions and next steps. My goal is for you to walk away with an understanding of the special education landscape and how you can start the process to begin your teaching career at the New York City Public Schools. Before we get started, I want everyone to write down this website. It's teachnyc.net. It is the ultimate resource for all things related to teaching at a New York City public school. I also want to mention that if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions section of the GoToWebinar. The sooner you apply, the sooner you'll gain access to the new Teacher Finder, which is our portal to available positions, networking events, and principals, panels, and job search. One last item before we get started is this session will be recorded and emailed to you. So in our first section, the NYCPS overview, why teach here? This section is going to talk about our New York City public school system and the benefits of joining a New York City public school. So when you join a New York City public school, you join the largest, most dynamic district in the nation. With over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 fellow teachers, New York City educators have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. New York City has 1,600 schools that are as diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods we serve, from neighborhood schools with deep roots in their local community to small thematic schools in the performing arts. There are schools with a focus in STEM, humanities, and dual language schools. Whatever your interest or passion may be there, and there's a school for you. I can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy and engaging with a community of like-minded professionals. And within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning opportunities. We'll talk later about how you will find your fit and navigate the job search in New York City. So New York City Public School is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We're looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the incredible diversity of our student body. When we're looking at passionate, our team of exceptional educators are passionate about educating urban students and truly believing in the power education can make in a student's life. Collaborative, our teachers thrive on constant learning and collaboration with colleagues. Committed, our teachers go above and beyond for students, understanding students' challenges and embracing their potential. Diverse, we seek teachers who are as diverse as our students. So help put our students on the path to college, careers, and a lifetime of learning. So we're going to hear from 2 of our New York City public school teachers. On the left, we have Sergio. So he's a graduate of Brooklyn College. He teaches middle school language arts, and a quote says, "Who's doing most of the talking in my room? The students are, because I allow them to have the voice, and I'm facilitating what's going on in there. I'm like the referee." Then Charlene on our right, she teaches science in a high school focused on supported English language learners and has had the opportunity to support students during these critical years as they learn English and are preparing for the college study in the health sciences. She says, "The kind of classroom that you will have has a lot to do with what you are willing to make it." And on our next slide, the benefits of a career at the New York City Public Schools. So the question, what are some of the benefits of working for the New York City Public School? So first, it's to make a difference in the lives of your fellow New Yorkers, maybe even those in your local community. Focus on building a better future, using your skills to develop the nation's next leaders, innovators, and educators. and to build relationships with colleagues dedicated to a shared goal. You'd be joining a robust network of over 70,000 teachers. So starting salaries as of January 2025 are $66,733 for bachelor's and no experience, and $75,017 with a master's and no experience. Teacher starting salaries vary based on education and experience. You can also earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. On September 24th, 2025, salaries will increase to $68,902 and $77,455 respectively. The Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality is unable to predict what your starting salary will be based on your experience and educational attainment, regardless of the teaching pathway you choose. You can estimate your starting salary by visiting the U of T's salary schedule. Here it outlines opportunities for increases based on previous teaching experience, longevity as a public school teacher, and educational credit. All teachers begin at the base salary and then apply for salary steps and salary differentials using the salary application system from beginning teaching. If eligible for a higher salary due to your experience and educational attainment, you must apply for a salary step when you begin teaching full-time at the New York City Public Schools. You cannot apply before then. If you're a paraprofessional, your years of teaching do not count as a full-time teaching experience. If you're a full-time substitute teacher, your experience does count as full-time teaching, but you need to provide documentation and proof of your work. To find out additional salary resources, you can scan these two QR codes with your phone right now. And then some of our robust benefits include a comprehensive health insurance plan, which includes dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Some require no employee contribution. Annual retention bonuses, prorated during your first year and increase each year. Membership with the United Federation of Teachers. Enrollment in pension plans. New York City Public School employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, a college saving program, and employee discounts on everything from technology and media to travel and education. In addition, scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs are available for many employees. There are also exciting loan forgiveness programs that you could be eligible for as a New York City Public School teacher. This includes the New York State Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program, which is available for teachers serving hard-to-staff districts or who teach in subject shortage areas in New York State. You must be a New York State resident for at least 12 months to be eligible, so you can scan the QR code on the left for more information. New York City Public School employees also are eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So the PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan while working full-time as an eligible employer. New teachers in New York City hit the ground running and with professional resources and learning opportunities tailored just for you, in addition to the numerous career development opportunities available, regardless of your years in the classroom. Each year, we survey new teachers and use that feedback to improve upon offerings. New teachers in New York City Public Schools receive supports tailored specifically to their needs. So these can include a New Teacher Week, which is an introduction to professional learning, with 5 days of workshops led by the New York City Public Schools experts and specifically tailored for new teachers. Your school-based mentoring, so new hires with an initial or Trans-B license are assigned an experienced and trained mentor teacher to support professional growth throughout their first year. The first news class letter, a monthly digital bulletin for first-year teachers that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers common new teacher questions. And teachers in New York City Public Schools, no matter where they are in their career, also have access to ample development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development days, after-school learning opportunities. So in addition to school-based supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including the New York City Public School offices and the United Federation of Teachers. So we know that many of you are ambitious, long-term thinkers, and New York City Public Schools is a great place to begin a teaching career that offers countless growth opportunities throughout your career. This includes teacher leadership opportunities to be model teachers, peer collaborative teachers, or master teachers. These opportunities are only available once you've started your teaching career. But we're sharing it now since we know that many of you are thinking of ahead, and you can find out more information about the application process and stipends on the Teacher Career Pathways website. So now I'm going to pass this next section off to my colleague, Rachel.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name I think I got muted. There I go. Hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is Rachel Rippy-Chun. I am from the Division of Inclusive and Accessible Learning, and I'm excited to talk to you all tonight about understanding students with disabilities and the landscape around the different types of classrooms that you may encounter in New York City Public Schools. So we have many special education programs that are offered across our system. You may encounter one or multiple programs over the course of your career at New York City Public Schools. We have inclusion, which is often called general education. So this would be, you know, the general pathway that most students take, whether or not they have an IEP. We have specialized programs that are programs in our schools, typically districts 1 through 32 schools, that are designed specifically for students with disabilities. And we'll talk a little bit about the different programs we have in a few moments. We have special classes, which are sometimes called self-contained in other places, but these are classes where all of the students in a classroom have IEPs. We have something in New York City called District 75. This is not a geographic district, but a school district that is often co-located with other schools across our city. And the schools are specifically designed for students with disabilities, typically more severe disabilities, or students who need a bit more support than what's available in their community school. We have home and hospital instruction, which is exactly what it sounds like. We have bilingual special education and preschool special education. So this is the continuum of special education services. This is a really helpful graphic for thinking about the spectrum of services that are available. So we mentioned general education at the top. Again, this is the standard path for all students with and without IEPs. Then you can go all the way over to specialized school as being the most restrictive environment for students. So, you know, everything from a classroom with 0 students with IEPs all the way over to an entire school that only has students with IEPs. And in the middle there, you have special classes, which may be in a District 1 through 32 school. And then at the bottom, the little green area are related services, as well as supplemental aids and services, which are available to students across all of these different programs. So related services are things like speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy. Supplemental aids and services might be things like accommodations in a classroom to make sure a student is successful, or assistive technology, or other technologies that'll help students with assignments or with accomplishing their goals. So this arrow at the bottom explains that least restrictive are the things on the left, which means more time with non-disabled students, and most restrictive would be the items all the way on the right, which is most restrictive or less time with peers without disabilities. So our neighborhood schools, which we call districts 1 through 32 schools, You may have a variety of programs offered in those neighborhood schools, like special education teacher support services, which is colloquially known as SETS, integrated co-teaching, specialized programs like NEST, Horizon, AIMS, and ACES are some of our popular ones. Again, special class and those related services. So integrated co-teaching, we'll start there. This is typically students with and without IEPs in a classroom, and you have one general education teacher and one special education teacher working together to plan lessons and provide access for all students to the curriculum. Our specialized programs, particularly the most well-known programs, are for autistic students. That's NEST, Horizon, and AIMS. And they offer focused instructional, social, emotional, and behavioral supports for autistic learners within our neighborhood community schools. So there's a brief video here from our Deputy Chancellor, Christina Foti.
NEST and Horizon programs are the pinnacle of what education should look like, not only for our students on the spectrum, but for all students. For years, our students with IEPs have struggled with outcomes in New York City Public Schools. The ESD, NEST, and Horizon programs have changed that narrative.
Advocates for Children had also told me about a private school for autistic children, but this program sounded so much better. Knowing that he could go to a general public school but still be in that special program that was really going to give him the attention he needed, that was a benefit.
The idea is that those programs help develop inclusive practices across the school. And so those programs do not exist in isolation. They exist as part of the culture, the ethos, the practices of the schools. And by doing that, we teach schools to be truly inclusive, and those schools become models.
Really important is a social curriculum that goes along with it. So even though we have like a robust social emotional learning curriculum through advisory, the Horizon social curriculum that the students get also gives them those extra social skills that they may not be getting. They will ask questions, they will try to help them play football outside of recess, they will invite them over, like they're going out of their way to want to be part of their lives, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Thank you for that. And yeah, that we need to update that video probably because Christina used to be our Chief of Special Education, as you saw, but she, as of last summer, is our Deputy Chancellor for the division. All right, we can go to the next slide. So just a little bit more about these programs, specifically for our autistic learners. First here we have NEST. So this is a program that serves autistic students in ICT classrooms or integrated co-teaching, as I mentioned before, which are those classrooms with both a special education teacher and a general education teacher. Every student in the classroom with an IEP has a classification of autism. So the rest of the class would be students without IEPs. And then this partner or this program is done in close partnership with NYU, and they give a lot of training and supports to teachers who have this program and who work in this program in their schools. There's a little peek into one of our Nest classrooms. As you can see, that's one of our classrooms for early grades, but the Nest program does serve students all the way up to high school. And we can move to the next slide to talk about our Horizon program, which is also a program for autistic students, which is not an ICT classroom, but a special class. So again, this is that self-contained type of program, in which case we have 8 autistic students within a community school. The class is taught just by a special education teacher, and there is a classroom paraprofessional similar to other special class programs that supports the teacher and the students. Students receive classroom supports and training that are tailored to the needs of autistic learners. Again, NYU provides a lot of that training to us. And with the proper support, students have opportunities for inclusion in larger classrooms, learning with peers with and without IEPs. So let's show you a peek into a Horizon classroom. Okay, so that's our Horizon program. You can see very similar to the Nest program, a lot of visuals, but possibly you can consider it a little bit more intensive as the students may have additional needs compared to the Nest program. And then we can move on to our AIMS program, which used to only be available in District 75, but as of the last few years, this is now available in our community schools as well. And this is an early childhood program, so for kindergarten through 2nd grade, that focuses on building language and communication for autistic learners. The special education teacher gets additional training using applied behavior analysis, or ABA, so students can build foundational skills. The entire classroom is designed to support the students' needs. And let's peek into an AIMS room. All right, so those are our specialized programs for autistic students. As an ICT teacher, this is inclusive co-teaching. You will provide access to the general education curriculum for your students and specially designed instruction to meet each student's individual needs. You'll work in partnership with one or more teachers to plan rigorous classroom lessons and help students meet their goals. You'll also provide services to students for all subjects or on an individual subject basis. For special class, these services are provided to students in a much smaller ratio. Again, it's just students with IEPs. And that their needs could not be met in a general education classroom, which is why they're in this special class. So typically there are either 6 to 12 students in a middle school classroom or 6 to 15 students in a high school classroom. And students may have what we call a bridge class, which are classes that go across the grades we think about in standard terms. So you may have students within a 3-year age range in high school. So that can be challenging for planning purposes, but also helpful when you have students who may be working on the same skills but across different grades, and you're able to group them into classes and subjects that way. You'll have one teacher and one para in elementary and middle school, and you also have one teacher and one para in high school. As a special class teacher, you are expected to design and deliver content to students in your class by adapting the content, methodology, and/or delivery of instruction to ensure students are given the opportunity to meet educational standards. You will work closely with your classroom paraprofessional, and you may serve students with disabilities in both your special class and other programs like integrated co-teaching or SETs. Special education teacher support services, or SETs, are intended to help students remain in the general education classroom, provided within general education classroom or a separate location, and typically have a group size up to 8 students. Services can be provided in what we call push-in, which is when a special education SETs teacher goes into general education classrooms and provides support while the students are in class. You may have one student in the class or multiple students in a class that you check in on and support, or pull-out services where you will actually pull that student out or a group of students out to work on specific skills. As a special education teacher providing SETs, you might provide specially designed or supplemental instruction to support the participation of your students with disabilities in their general education classes. You'll provide consultation to students' general education teachers, which means meeting with the teachers and giving tips and tools for how they may be able to better include their students or adapt materials or just generally make sure their students are successful. And you may provide instruction in special classes or integrated co-teaching classes in addition to providing SET services. So again, it just depends on the school and the staffing set up at that school, whether you work in only one special education program or provide services across multiple programs. And then we have District 75. So I mentioned this earlier. This is a non-geographic district, meaning it's not in one specific place. It exists across all 5 boroughs across the city. And these are schools that are typically small in nature and sometimes co-located with District 1 through 32 schools. But the District 75 school has its own principal and its own staff, and they provide quality and rigorous individualized education programs to students with significant challenges. This would be significant autism spectrum disorders where students may have quite a few behavior challenges or difficulty accessing educational content. Students with significant cognitive delays or intellectual disabilities, students with severe emotional disabilities, students with sensory impairments, and students with multiple physical disabilities. District 75 has many specialties. You would, as a teacher in these schools, you would experience a class of students with diverse speech and cognitive abilities. And you would collaborate very closely with the rest of the staff, including paraprofessionals, related service providers, school counselors, and together you're creating individualized instruction that promotes learning and development of student skills in academics like reading, writing, and math, and teaching all core subjects. You also work on a lot of life skills in District 75 and transition skills like how to prepare for adulthood. You apply the workshop model, stations model, and other models of whole group and small group instruction to ensure mastery of skills. And you would monitor student learning throughout independent work and alternate assessments, which are assessments students take rather than the standard assessments to be able to show their mastery of skills without taking the standard assessments. District 75 has a variety of class sizes that are quite unique. You'll see the class types here. It can get a bit confusing, but depending on the student's IEP, they may have any of the class types listed here. So you have classes as small as 6 students. You always have a teacher and a paraprofessional, and then classes going up to the size of 12 students. As a 6-to-1-to-1 teacher, you may work with students with very high needs. So this is the smallest class in most or all areas, including academic, social, and or interpersonal development, physical development, and management. You provide highly intensive individual programming, continuous adult supervision, a specialized behavior management program to engage in all tasks, and possibly a program of speech or language therapy that might include augmentative or alternative communication or AAC devices, which are basically just assistive technology devices that help children who are non-speaking to voice their needs and requests and thoughts. As an 8-to-1-to-1 teacher, which is a little bit larger, you may work with students whose needs are still quite high and chronic and require constant intensive supervision, a significant degree of individualized attention and intervention and behavior management. Again, these are very small classes, so this is why they require such intensive support. As a 12-to-1-to-4 teacher, so this is a model where there's a couple more paraprofessionals in the class. This would be when you're serving students with severe and multiple disabilities with very limited language, academic, and independent functioning. These students require a program primarily of habilitation and treatment, including training in daily living skills and the development of communication skills, sensory stimulation, and therapeutic interventions. So these classrooms are very unique and require a very high specialty in how to provide these kinds of therapies and daily living skills to make sure students are getting the most out of their educational day. As a 12-to-1-to-1 teacher, so now the class is increasing in size and decreasing in support from adults. You'd be working with students with academic and or behavioral management needs that interfere with the instructional process, and you provide additional adult support and specialized instruction. And then we have home and hospital instruction. So this is where educational services are provided for school-age children from kindergarten through 12th grade who are unable to attend school due to orthopedic or non-orthopedic or medical or psychiatric reasons. School-age public, private, and parochial students who are hospitalized for chronic or acute medical, orthopedic, or psychiatric conditions also can receive home and hospital instruction. We serve students in all 5 boroughs of New York City and operate both during the day and during after school hours. This is an interim non-diploma granting program. So these are not schools, but it's a program that can be offered during the times this is needed. Home instruction provides academic services to limit the educational effects of a long-term absence, meaning an absence of 4 weeks or longer. And we have bilingual special education, which is for students in special education programs who require a language of instruction other than English. It's intended to support English language learners who benefit from culturally and linguistically responsive instruction that addresses cognitive, academic, and linguistic needs. We definitely need lots of teachers in this area, so please consider applying for a bilingual extension to become a bilingual special education teacher. And finally, we have preschool special education. So obviously this is serving our earliest learners, our babies in our district schools, in pre-K centers, and we have state approved 4410 and 4210 programs in New York City. Some universal features about our preschool programs include that they are offered for the full day, which is 6 hours and 20 minutes for the 180-day school year, with options in some cases for extended day. The class sizes vary across the board. It really depends on the regional need, but the general rule of thumb is that we want to provide the least restrictive environment for our students in any program. And for teacher supports, you have professional learning and curricular resources from our Committees on Special Education team, as well as our preschool team. And that, I believe, is all I've got. I'm going to pass it to Maribel.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm going to actually take over for Maribel. Really appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So now we're going to make like a 180, and we're going to start talking about pathway and applications. And we're going to essentially talk about the requirements to teach in New York City Public Schools. So first, starting off with certification requirements. So all New York City teachers must hold a valid teaching certificate from the New York State Education Department, or NYCED. And in order to work in New York City Public Schools, first you must fulfill all certification requirements and receive your certification. This process is completely done through the New York State Education Department, and that is at nyscd.gov. You can also scan the QR codes as well. That'll take you there. Secondly, you must fulfill all certification requirements and receive, submit your application at teachnyc.net, which is our website at teachnyc.net. And then finally, finding your teaching position by conducting job outreach and interviewing at schools. Now, if you are interested in teaching early childhood, one of the great opportunities available to those interested in beginning their teaching career before they complete their certification actually exists at CBOs, or community-based organizations. So essentially, you can work as a lead teacher or assistant teacher or a teacher's aide. And why would you want to do this? Well, you can start earning a full-time salary while completing your certification requirements. It's 100% focused on early childhood education. It's a smaller, more supportive environment, a closer connection to the community, and there's a large number of locations across the city. There's over 1,200 of these CBOs across the city. For anyone that is interested in that, you go to teachnycpk.org and complete the Early Childhood Teacher Finder. Now, additionally, if you are at a certain point in your schooling, you may have an opportunity to obtain an internship certificate. So essentially, it's a 2-year certificate, and it's available to students who have completed at least 50% of an approved New York State graduate program, leading to an initial certificate. Now, this 50% really depends on the school. So all schools are different. So I would reach out to your certification office if you are interested in this. But essentially, it's to help immediate needs across New York City. You can obtain hands-on teaching experience while working towards completion of your degree and your initial certificate requirements. And you can begin earning a full-time teaching salary while you are still in school. How you do this, you'd complete the New York City teacher application and upload a letter from your university about your internship certification eligibility as your certification documentation. Now this slide here, it showcases all of our application deadlines. So as we go through the season, applicants have certain deadlines to submit the application. So for example, as you can see, if students submitted their application by May 8th, they would have access to various job search supports, such as access to vacancy lists in your subject area or preferred boroughs, invitations to in-person and virtual networking events with schools that have vacancies in your subject area, and invitations to virtual job search workshops. There is still time, although the deadline has passed. If you submit your application as soon as possible, you still have the opportunity to gain access to this, as well as early commitment. So there is still time to take advantage of early commitment. And I'm going to showcase that on the next slide. So early commitment is an opportunity for candidates to secure a position and a signing stipend before school budgets are released in June. So schools in select districts can make hiring commitments to candidates until June 16th. The sooner you apply, the sooner you'll be able to possibly earn up to $3,000 signing stipend. And as you can see below, those are the districts that are eligible. So if you're interested in teaching in one of these districts, I highly recommend you apply as soon as possible to take advantage of this. Once again, they have until June 16th. So you got to get your application in as soon as possible because it does take some time for your application to be reviewed and so forth. And then please visit teachnyc.net. That is our webpage. This is a screenshot of our homepage. This is where you'd go and apply to complete your application. So what happens after you submit your application? So all applicants will receive a confirmation email from the Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality confirming receipt of their application. And all applications will be reviewed to determine certification eligibility. So within 1 to 2 weeks of submitting a complete application, we could get in touch with you to ask for additional information needed to review your application, B, to let you know you're eligible for job search supports, or C, to let you know that we can't assist you in your job search either because you do not hold a valid teaching certificate or did not pass our quality review. Only applications that meet standards are entered into what we call the New Teacher Finder, which is a database for candidates to connect with schools and access job postings and other resources. So essentially, you need to apply in order to get access to this New Teacher Finder. So once you have access to the New Teacher Finder, then you can officially start your job search. So moving on to finding your fit. So once you figured out how to get New York State certified and you've completed your online teacher application for New York City, the work is just beginning. So high need boroughs. So another factor in hiring is the school location. So in the past 2 years, nearly 60% of new hires were hired to teach in Brooklyn and the Bronx. So planning to take a position in a high need borough can be a great way to maximize your job search. So once you are ready to take a position, and even more so if you are certified in a high need subject area, as we discussed, and it's important that you find a school that's the right fit for you. But don't exclude schools because they're slightly out of your comfort zone or in a different borough from where you live. Almost all of our schools are easily accessible by public transportation, and we have students who need great teachers in all 5 of our boroughs. Students with disabilities hiring. So for this current school year, we had 5,000 plus new teachers that were hired, which is close to 25% of new teacher hires had students with disabilities certification. And also we do want to mention Governor Kathy Hochul signed into law legislation that is actually going to be lowering class sizes in every grade in New York City. So New York City Public Schools is anticipating record hiring. So we're excited to share that. So this is a great opportunity for those who are on track to be certified by September to get your application in because we will be having more openings in our school this coming school year. As you can see, New York State passed a law that requires smaller classes. This is better for both students and for teachers, and as well as finding positions as there will be more openings across our city. So finding the right position. These are just a couple tips. So you want to research schools online. You want to conduct outreach to schools directly. Use the New Teacher Finder and other job boards, networking with colleagues, professors and friends. And finally, attending New York City Public Schools networking events. Now, one helpful search tool is the new Teacher Finder, or the NTF. So once you do submit a high quality application, you will get access to the new Teacher Finder, where you'll be able to log in and use the new Teacher Finder in several ways. So first, your application profile. It will become viewable to principals and recruiters. Secondly, you'll be able to search for teaching positions. Now, it's important to note that not all principals list positions in the NTF, but many do. And this will give you a sense of what's out there. Principals may not post positions, but they could be looking and reviewing resumes to see which candidates can be a good fit for their schools. And then finally, if you are certified in a high needs subject area, you may receive invitations to New York City Public Schools sponsored recruitment events during the spring and the summer. Now, just a note here, not all candidates are invited to events online and in person. It depends on application quality, event capacity, and current certification needs when it comes to inviting. So using the new Teacher Finder. So here is a screenshot of what the new Teacher Finder looks like. So after you select search all positions on the left panel, you can then filter for the position type, your preferred borough, your grade level, and subject area. Now, principals enter their vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. And this is the area that actually will help you in that. So this is the school search feature, and it's found on the homepage of schools.nyc.gov. Once again, that's schools.nyc.gov. Here you can search for schools by name, by borough, or grade level to help narrow down your options. However, you will want to remember that the tool lists every school in our system, not just those with openings. So once you've identified schools that interest you, you'll need to contact them directly to inquire about position availability. So clicking on an individual school name will take you to a page that contains a wealth of information about a school. So you can click on the school website. It's going to take you to their website where you'll be able to find contact information for principals, recruiters, and other school staff. If you click on overview, you'll get to see some data about their grade levels, enrollment, the district, and more. And then if you click on school quality, it'll take you to direct links to school quality guides and reports for the school. And then finally, if you click on reports for additional information about school programs, finances, and more. So moral of the story here is if you are on track to be certified, make sure to go ahead and go to teachnyc.net, get your application submitted so you can possibly qualify for early commitment with a school and get that signing stipend. We highly recommend you getting that application in as soon as possible. If you need a letter from your school stating you're on track to be certified, you can find that on our website at teachnyc.net. So for questions that might not be answered during this presentation, we highly recommend going to the online support center. There's hundreds of articles covering working at New York City Public Schools, the New York State Education Department certification requirements, the onboarding process, and more. So you're going to submit, you can also submit help desk inquiries for individualized support. So let's say you can't find a specific answer to a question that you have. You can actually go to the online support center, and on the top right, there's a contact us button, and that is where you'll be able to create essentially an individualized ticket. You'll be able to ask questions, and someone from our staff will be able to answer them. Please follow us on social media. We're very active. Regularly share updates on the application and recruitment events, as well as news about what's going on in our schools. and relevant opportunities for teachers. So please join the conversation and follow us.